obviously Doctor Doom is one of the greatest characters in comic book history, one of the greatest villains of all time, and obviously, um, someone that's going to play Doctor Doom is a very important role that that like need to be figured out. And so, according to a lot of sources, the news that has come out is that one of the top choices for Doctor Doom is Cillian Murphy. Now, if you don't know who Murphy is, he was the Scarecrow in Batman Begins. He was the main character in Oppenheimer, which that movie has grossed. It's almost at a billion at this point, so it's doing great in theaters. So, Cillian Murphy was also, if you were a Netflix fan, he was in Peaky Blinders as well. So, how do you feel about Cillian Murphy being eyed to play Mr. Doom?
I feel like, first of all, definitely well deserved. The guy is, one of the greatest actors of our generation. And I think what's so great about this casting, if it's true, I hope it is that a lot of times there are a lot of great actors that are like on the cusp of being household names, whether Cillian Murphy is or isn't. I think he might be at this point. But they don't get that like super level of fame until they get casted into our world in a role like this. This is the kind of role that's going to make Cillian Murphy super famous for the rest of his career. And it's going to put Doctor Doom on the map in the same kind of way, because Doctor Doom is a very well-known villain. He's been in a couple movies now. None of them have been, major hits, especially for Marvel. But I think Doctor Doom is going to do a lot for Cillian Murphy, and I think Cillian Murphy is also going to do a lot for Doctor Doom. And if this casting is accurate, once this movie comes out, everyone will know who Cillian Murphy is, even if they're not people that are, part of our fandom. People like your mom who doesn't really know actors will start to know who Cillian Murphy is, because this is the kind of role that, you're going to see him on more talk shows. You're going to see him hanging out with other celebrities. It's just that kind of role that puts him at a much higher elevation in the stratosphere of fame.
I agree, man. I think that Cillian, number one, he has the eyes to play Doctor Doom, because when you're wearing the Doctor Doom mask, the eyes matter the most, and I think Cillian has those eyes. If that makes sense, if you hear what I'm saying, like those eyes are just so menacing and I think he could do that very well. But also, Cillian, I feel like it's going to be a really new thing for him, because he's never. I mean, he's been in major, obviously, franchises like the Dark Knight trilogy, and obviously Oppenheimer, but he's been attached to Nolan. So him kind of like moving away from Nolan movies and kind of doing his own thing, I think it's gonna be pretty like exciting to see the kind of gravitas that he brings to the character of Doctor Doom, because Killian's going to take the role serious. He's going to become Doctor Doom. And I think, superhero roles for actors, I feel like they also view them as fun. Like, because usually, like, I mean, imagine playing someone like Oppenheimer. That's a very serious role, and you got to put yourself in the mind of being someone that's going to kill millions of people. So, him like switching to being Doctor Doom, which is also like a very menacing role, but I would imagine that for Cillian Murphy, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it's not a Nolan 3-hour biopic.
Because Nolan movies are like, I mean, like, Nolan is, and I hate saying this, guys, but Nolan is so great of a director and writer that, like, doing his movies probably is taxing for actors, because they're so deep and so serious, that when you go to superhero movies, like, yes, these movies are deep and serious, and like, I feel like from a physical standpoint, it's a lot, but I feel like, like, it's fun when, like, you get to see yourself on the screen flying around and being a superhero, or a villain.
Yeah, and like you said, doing a Nolan movie, especially playing Oppenheimer, and especially like that scene where he is in, I don't know if it's like a chapel, or I think it's a chapel or a church, and he's looking at his community, and they're all like so excited that this bomb was so powerful, and something that he created was used. And like right there, he's kind of like, instead of enjoying that success, the guilt that you were able to say. I just think that kind of acting is, probably the highest echelon of talent that you could have in acting. So I definitely think he's had that, and I think this movie will be more fun. I get what you're saying about the eyes, and I hope that Marvel does stick to the traditional costume of Doctor Doom. Like obviously, they changed the eyes a bit with Iron Man. But I do think with Doctor Doom, they'll stick to the traditional route.